Good morning, all. Let me see. People are joining still. And again, today it is like festival. So I don't know how many people will be joining today, but I see some couple of people are joining again and again. So I see around 10 people are there already. So today I'm going to talk about the topics like, let me share my screen. So this is what I am going to talk to you today, NetOps with Ansible. Ansible, like how many people are working on Ansible, I don't have any idea, but it's becoming, what do you say, it's becoming a necessity for every other system administrator or network administrators or the people who are working in security. So everyone has to come to this Ansible automation. Automation in the sense like whatever the work which we are doing currently means logging into the devices, pulling up the configurations, finding out the, you know, what all the changes need to be done. Daily routine work, like routine work in the sense, I would like to say something on logging into that and finding the health of the device, checking the power and environment variables. Then we will be checking on the interface status, like if it is a routers and switches, network devices in the sense we'll be checking out the interface status and all. Configurations wise, we'll be seeing that. And moreover, when we are try to log into that Cisco, not only the Cisco Juniper devices, we will be doing the Ansible for network automation. Not only network automation, we will be doing it for the system automations also. System in the sense, I would like to say something about the Linux operating systems, Windows operating systems, and Mac OS, and all the servers whichever we are doing that, Windows Server, Linux servers, and Mac OS platforms, and Ubuntu servers also been there. So every other server can be automated with the help of Ansible. Ansible is an automation tool. It is not a language. People may call it as like a language, but this is not a language at all. This is like more of it's a DevOps tool. The DevOps tool help us to do the work easier for all the system administrators, network administrators, and the database administrators also, and the people who are working on DevOps side. DevOps in the sense, I would like to say something on the CI/CD, that is continuous integration and continuous development, which they will be doing, and they'll be working on SDLC. That is nothing but software development. The cycle it will be coming up. So in those people, when they are looking for, like they are also working on Ansible. Ansible would like to say something about the Ansible. Like Ansible is an open source tool. Anyone can develop their own packages inside the Ansible. Then we can create our own roles and modules inside. And Ansible is very much universal. And I guess previously I have taken the one of the demo on Ansible for the network operations like that. So today we will be seeing about something on system administration side, like Linux administration and Windows administration like that. So would like to give about Ansible introductions first. Like, so let me go through that, let me go through the slides. I guess everyone can see my slides. I guess so. Everyone can see it. Anyone can answer, please. Hello.
Yes, Ramnath, we are able to see you.
Okay, nice, very nice.
Yes, Ramnath, yeah. Good morning. Yeah, we're able to see your slide, yeah.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, like that. Okay, nice. So, and please don't worry about, or, like, don't fear about the Ansible. It is not the one like what we admit all. Let me see, many people are joining, so let me admit them all. So I admitted them. Okay. Whenever it comes to the Ansible, please don't worry, or please don't be afraid of touching this. There will be a lot of coding has to be done. Some languages need to be known, and I just need to know all the syntaxes and everything. And how do I do that? Because people are not coming from the proper background of the what is a programming backgrounds or something. So when people are coming out from the administration background or change people who are doing some changes on the routers and devices or the servers or something, so they'll be having that opinion in their mind that I cannot do any coding at all. That will be a problem. So it will be very harder for me to understand the codings. And I don't know C, C++, Python and all. Actually speaking that when you come to the Ansible in the sense, you don't require anything at all. I would like to underline that you don't need to know anything on C, C++ or Python or any other programming languages or something. So I would like to say something more on this. Means if you know that, it will be helping you a lot in constructing the script for that. Somebody is asking some question. Okay, once again. Is it started? Yes, of course it is started. Just now only I started Ghost. I just started now, just 2 minutes back only, so no problems for you to pack. You know, like you can join it, not an issue at all. Don't worry. So people having in their mind that I may not be knowing about the coding languages or something. How do I do the coding on Ansible? Ansible requires a lot of mathematical and scientific knowledge or something like that. It's nothing required. I would like to say very much in like happily, I can just say that you don't require to know about the Ansible like that. You just need to be a good programmer to understand the Ansible or something. No, no way. We can do the Ansible YAML scripts. That's a small script. Like people who are coming from the Linux background, either in Ubuntu flavor or they are in Debian, any one other flavor, or they are coming from the Red Hat or CentOS flavor or something, they must be doing something on the shell scripting. Definitely they will come out with this shell scripting. Shell scripting is nothing but like that automating the task. The scripting was already been there in Linux platform, and Windows has come up with their own PowerShell and other scripts later, means last 5-6 years only. But Linux, it was there until last, when it has been started, it was working with the scripts only. So I'd like to say that about the people who are coming from the Linux background, they don't feel it like everything like a new or something like which I'm going to do that, which I don't know at all. You know, like how do I start it like that? So no need to worry about that because it is like a shell scripting only. Shell scripting also has certain syntaxes need to be get followed. Very little syntax. It is, doesn't require that you require to be a very good of programming guy or something like that. But you can start with that, writing some calendar or displaying some messages or writing some hello world to all the people or sending some messages to the people. Or normally what we do in this Linux system in the sense cron tab will do. Cron tab is nothing but automating the jobs for to easy the tasks whichever the system administrators people are doing it. Maybe like they will be doing it on like every weekend, they'll be doing some backups. Other people will be doing on certain kind of disk managements. Disk management in the sense like, what I say, somebody is asking something, again he's asking. Yes, it is started. It is started. Are you, I guess Gauss is not listening my voice. Is it not possible you to hear my voice? Okay, anyway.
No, it's perfect, Ram. It's
Okay.
perfect, Ram. Your voice is perfect. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. So people who are doing the normal system administration tasks in essence, I would like to talk from the system administration side, means like a Linux administration or Windows administration like that I would like to talk. Those people will be doing a routine tasks, means like checking the hard disk management, checking the user activities and creating the users and deleting the users, giving some rights and permissions per day basis, or giving some new project assignment for them, giving the quota for the people who are coming newly, like the people who are joined the newly, the new person getting inducted to the network in the sense he has to do all the necessary activities like the person has to be given the proper rights to be on his own project folders or something. And if he is going to be the programming guy, if he's going to be the like say backup person or something like that, he just need to give on a backup permissions for a certain folders or something. So he just need to allowed be to log into the different servers on this. So he will be picking up the backups by using the cron tab jobs or something. He will be running that like that. Once it has been running on this, then the mail will be sent to the roots or the whoever is the person who created the particular job will be getting the mails or something. So this, it's, I would like to say something about the normal day-to-day activity of this normal system administration peoples. So this is being getting automated. Why I am already doing that? I am having the what is that automation jobs like that, which I am doing that cron tab. I'm doing that, or some other third-party softwares also people are doing it to taking the backup and all. Why do we require Ansible? Ansible is not only for people are waiting. Let me admit them all. Okay. I guess Navneet Krishnan and somebody is joining. Let them join. And see, then the question comes up like that: why do we require Ansible for to do all these jobs, which already been there? So we are already running on that. We are writing a lot of you know. I'm not getting your voice, Mr. Radikesh. I don't know. Can you just unmute Radikesh? Can you unmute? I don't know. Radikesh. What's his name? Wait. I'm just typing him. Let me make it for everyone. I'm not getting your voice. Again, he's saying, can you unmute? Please unmute it. You will be able to listen. Everyone is listening my voice. Everyone can hear my voice. Actually, that's not a problem at all. So please check your connectivity, or please rejoin again. Please rejoin again. Disconnect and join again, please. Hello. Yeah, you got it. Okay. Please unmute. Please unmute. All people, please unmute. Then you can talk. Or once you would like to talk, if you are having any Bluetooth speaker or something like that, it'll be a problem. Bluetooth mic and speakers will be an issues with the Zoom meeting. Sometime I face these problems many times. So please check your connectivity. Rejoin again. Otherwise, okay. Let us come back to the Ansible. So I was asking about the like that. Why do I require Ansible to go for automating all the tasks, which I am already doing it with the cron tab or something like that, where I can do it very easily because cron tab jobs are very easier to write. That means it will be repetitive. Lines will be done. Maybe your senior administrators must be giving you the lines and all. You just copy and paste it out like so. What I'm saying that every other Linux system, Linux flavors has got some different set of commands need to be run on that. And if you'd like to do the third-party integrations to the Linux systems, Red Hat will be doing it in certain way. Like they will be doing some RPMs installation, something like that. Or the people will be doing on Ubuntu in the sense that they will be using the DEB. It's like a Debian base or something like that. They will be doing it. Some other many kind of Linux platforms has come up. Everyone will be doing in their own way of integrating things. And the NetOps jobs, whichever we are doing that, when we are using the cron tab jobs or something, it's not possible for us to control the Windows systems. I would like to add the Windows systems also now here. So you will not be able to add the Windows systems here. So the cron tabs will be very much within the Linux systems only. You will not be able to expand it to the Windows systems. It's not possible. So if you like to add the Windows also to your own backups, because whenever you go to any company, there will be like thousands of servers will be there. Servers, every server cannot be Linux. So people will be having the AD, that Active Directory logins and all, they will be keeping it nowadays. They are keeping it. LDAP has also been there. So AD logins and all like that, it comes from the Windows platform only. So when you require to manage the Windows systems, Windows servers, and you would like to do an automation for that. So writing the cron tab may not work with that Windows systems. You may have to write the PowerShell script for that. So PowerShell scripts, you just need to go and learn the PowerShell script to manage the entire Windows systems on this. Okay. So that way, when it goes for like, he's raised the hand. What happened? Hello? Somebody raised the hand. Vishal, okay, let me admit him. Okay, nice. Okay, so when we try to manage the Windows systems, Ubuntu systems, Mac OS has also been there. Currently, it is being started because Mac OS is based on Linux only. Means it's like a BSD Unix, but most of the Linux commands will be running on that. So, would like to tell you Windows systems, Mac OS, Ubuntu systems, Red Hat systems, CentOS systems, scientific Linux systems. There are so many Linux has been there. Manjaro Linux has come. Arch Linux has come. So many kind of Linux has been there. Linux flavors are so many. Linux Mint. People are very much going behind the Linux Mint nowadays because it's a so beautiful GUI like Windows 10 something like that. It has been there. So it is more than that also. Linux Mint is very easy, nice to work with it. So when you are working on a multiple vendor platforms and you would like to integrate everything by one just software, you would like to go for an automation with the multiple systems, whichever you are running in your own current networks, and you would like to add them new and you would like to remove them new of any kind of operating systems in your own network. In the sense, the one-stop solution, I can just say it's an Ansible. And moreover, Ansible doesn't require much training also. I would like to stress it. Then why I'm taking that? People would like to know that they require certain introduction on that. Okay, Ansible doesn't require much training and all. Like what I'm saying that in the sense like how you learn the operating system, maybe a Linux operating system or a Windows operating system, you took months and months of the things to learn certain operations, certain uh, Active Directories and LDAP configurations, application installations, MariaDB configurations or SQLDB, anything, whatever you like to have on according to the project's requirement. It takes months and months of for you to prepare everything, to understand the entire systems to work on as an administration side. But here in Ansible, it doesn't require that much time at all. I can just say, whoever is a person who is very much interested to do learn a new thing or something like that, Ansible is very easy for them. They can go with within 2 weeks itself. It's enough for them. Definitely, I'm saying, I'm not saying anything. I'm not faking anything. I'm an engineer. So I don't want to fake with you guys. Like you can just go and do it in 1 hour. I'm not saying that 1 hour. 2 weeks is more than enough for you to understand every other operating system and controlling the every other operating system to do your daily tasks, daily routine jobs, whichever the people are doing. Maybe like years and years they'll be doing it. I know the people who are working in L1, level 1 people are doing only the backup for the whole year. They'll be running the same command daily. They'll be using the NetApps only. NetApps platform which is coming from IBM, something like that. They'll be doing that one. So it is not required to know about the entire operating systems to know about to run that Ansible. If you know, that's very nice. Okay, I can just say that I can welcome. So whatever the knowledge you are having extra, that is going to give you a lot of backup for you when you try to install something on through the Ansible or something. Okay, one more person is joining. So Ansible is open source. I would like to say, stress it out. I would like to underline, Ansible is an open source. There are a lot of developments which are happening on Ansible. And a lot of developments in the sense, there are entrepreneurs working on Ansible because nobody owns it. Ansible is not owned by anyone. It has been owned by a group of people, group of engineers, group of entrepreneurs, group of people who are writing a lot of scripts on GitHub. Guests must be knowing about the GitHub. So you should know about the GitHub. Better you create one account in GitHub and work with Ansible things. Okay. And there is a whole section for Ansible has been there in GitHub. You can just go and search it out. And how Ansible is suddenly becoming so very much famous so that you can go ahead with doing many things with that Ansible in the sense. Why this has come up? Because of the cloud things has come up in the, what do you say, in the market. AWS we are having, Google Cloud we are having, DigitalOcean we are having, Microsoft Azure we are having it. CenturyLink Cloud is there. So many clouds are there. When you are installing it something on the cloud, you have no control on physical installations or something. You don't have any hands-on on that. Anyway, we are working on the data centers only. We will be running the scripts from India. Maybe from Bangalore, we are running the script or something other. It must be running on somewhere in Mexico, or it must be somewhere it is running on New York. I'm not talking about that one. If it is coming into the cloud in the sense, it is completely, it's a virtual machine something. There is no physical machines are involved in that. So when you are running on a virtual machine in the sense, the virtual machines are created mostly in a containers only. Containers, you can learn about the containers. Docker containers, Kubernetes containers are there. Nowadays, Kubernetes is very famous. Kubernetes containers are very much is there. So when you are looking for those kind of a containers where they are running with the multiple servers or an applications which is installed in a container or something, if you would like to manage those containers under the Ansible, it is very much easy. You don't need to be a very good programming guy to understand the Ansible to run any commands and pick up the informations from the certain containers or certain servers. So it is not at all so important that you just need to know everything about that particular platform or something to work on Ansible on this. So I can just say Ansible is nothing like the bird's eye view. Bird's eye view in the sense the bird, maybe that bird is just running on, flying on 100 kilometers far away from the earth like that. It will be seeing certain things. Many things it can able to see that. When you go on a flight or something, you can see the entire city in one shot. You can able to see the photograph like that. So that way we can able to see that Ansible. Ansible will be doing on like it will be operatable. It can be working with any other operating systems in the world. It is possible. Any vendor platform it can integrate. Vendor platform in the sense what I'm talking about, the vendor platform may be like a network devices vendor platform, operating system vendor platform, third party devices vendor platform. I'm saying about the firewalls, load balancers, routers, switches, and what is that? Broadband devices, televisions. Nowadays, Android televisions has come up. Smart televisions has come up, smartphones. Everything can be controlled by the Ansible. So Ansible is the key point for automation tool, I can say. Automation has come up so much in demand so that every other engineer should be knowing about the Ansible in detail. They need to know, they need to go through, they have to understand, they should start writing the scripts on Ansible, YAML scripting, right? So these are all very much required for every other engineer has to know about this and all. So that's why I just started this course. Like we can work out with this Ansible. Earlier, I was talking about that how to Ansible, how the Ansible can help with the network devices, because I am from the network background. I am in the industry for last 15 years. 15 years I've been in the industry, and I worked with every other platform on the network devices like Cisco, Juniper, HP devices, and a lot of Taiwanese devices as well. Juniper I used to work on, like all the firewalls I used to work with, the dealing firewalls, ASA firewall, and the checkpoint firewalls, like many other firewalls also been there. So every other firewalls, every other routers, every other switches, every other load balancers can be completely controlled by Ansible. So Ansible is coming up like it is unavoidable package, unavoidable software. People need to understand about the Ansible. They need to get trained. It's very easy. I can say that you can start your own training on Ansible. And there are many people are talking about the Ansible in the YouTube also. You can just watch them. And if you like to have kind of, like from the scratch to expert level or something like that, I will be able to talk to you on this one. So Ansible is like what I say, integral part of our life, integral part of every IT engineer. Maybe he will be a system administrator, or he'll be a network administrator, as a database administrator, or can just say system admin, system engineers who are doing some programs. DevOps engineers who will be doing the daily day-to-day programs on cloud as well as the local on-prem and other things. And the people who are working on a different platforms like, okay, some more people are joining, let them, I can ask them to join. Yes. So every other walks of life in the IT industry, now it has been automated. Automation has been there already been there. So people will be asking, Derek, can I directly start talking about Ansible? Can I jump into the automation side? I am just a college grad, which I came out of the college, and I would like to start with an Ansible. I will just say, please don't come. Why I'm saying that? Because they just need to know what is Ansible and why Ansible is being utilized, where we will be using that Ansible. Like these are all required. At least a person need to know about operating systems, networkings, platforms, little bit of what I say, little bit of programming skills. If you have it, it's nice. Otherwise, it's okay, no issues. Anyway, because we are doing some sort of a program in our colleges itself. We did some kind of a basic program, Fortran, Pascal, and other languages. Nowadays in chapters, I just used to see that C++ is also been there, Java.NET and all they started teaching. Oracle also they are teaching. So somehow we have some kind of experience on this scripting side. So that wouldn't be an issue for people who are coming to this kind of a platform. Okay, coming to this kind of a platform and start doing that. But I would like to say that please have any kind of an operating system, you should know that. At least you do some RHC, means like Red Hat certified engineer. Course, I'm just saying, don't need to go for any exam or something like that. Or any Windows administration, you should have done it. Windows Server administration, I'm telling, not the Windows 10 desktop or something. Or any kind of Ubuntu server, if you worked on, it's nice. Or if you have worked on a network industry for last 2 years, means 1 year, at least 1 year. Must be involved in certain activities, doing some certain daily activities like in servers or network or, like any logistics or something like that. If you've done that. Okay, so what I mean to say in the sense, directly starting an automation, I don't recommend for a people to start directly in the automation side, because I would like to expect that the person need to understand whatever the technical jargons which I'm going to talk, means in the sense technical words which we talk, like I'm saying backup or cron tab or automation, or I just say router switches, means that people should not come and ask me what is router. That level, if you are there, please don't start with any kind of an automation. Please understand, at least you should be belongs to this department for quite some time, and you know at least the name of them, and just know that what is the work they do and what is their role to play on the network or something. Then you can go for an automation, because you will not get any kind of a surprise when things are coming up as new. That's why I don't want people to come with the surprises to learn the automations or something. Not required. It is not advisable to go for directly into the automations. But once you are having at least 1 year, you worked already on Linux systems, worked already on Windows systems, Mac you are working on, you do some lot of programming in somewhere, you did some kind of a backup jobs or something. You supported the people for broadband support. People are doing a lot of broadband nowadays. It's a lot of broadband things are going on, and there's a Fire TV and other things are happening nowadays. Ansible, sorry, not Android things and other things are happening. So people who has to come from certain basic knowledge about the operating systems, networks, and either database or kind of a programming skills or something, they can start directly with an Ansible very easily. So this is about my introduction about the Ansible. Let me go through the slides of the which I prepared for this one. I can just show you. You start that. So Ansible is simple. That's what I was talking about. Human readable in automation. It is in English. It's written in completely on English only. You don't need to know about any machine language, or you just need to know anything about the mnemonics to understand that Ansible. It is human readable. No special coding skills are needed. Definitely, it is not at all required. Tasks are executed in order. Means we will be creating the tasks. The tasks will be running one by one. It's like a normal program only, but the programs are very much easily understood by anyone. And get the productive quickly. Means like the job has been done so quickly on multiple volumes of the devices which is getting involved. That is called productiveness. In the term, when I just say, if you would like to manage some 10 servers, means 1 or 2 people are enough for us. They can manage very easily. When it is coming as a 10,000 servers, in the sense 1 or 2 people are not enough. But when we installing the Ansible, when we are going to automate it through the Ansible, I can definitely say that 3 persons is enough for to manage the entire 10,000 systems. We are doing that. That's why I'm telling very much confidently. Okay. Then it's powerful. Application deployment is there. Configuration management is there. Workflow orchestration is there. Orchestrate the app lifecycle is there. Everything can be done by the Ansible. You will come to know this because this is quite a little bit advanced thing on the Ansible, which we will be doing it. Application deployment can be done by Ansible. Configuration management can be done. Means you can change the configurations, you can save the configuration, you can remove the configurations, you can re-add it again back. Whatever it has been missed, you can do it again back. So many flexible, it is completely flexible, the Ansible is. Then the last point is like agentless. Agentless in the sense, you don't need to require to install any piece of software in any of the devices, target devices. I'm telling about Windows Server, Linux Server, Ubuntu servers, any network devices. We don't need to install anything on the devices to get it managed by Ansible. That is called agentless. Agentless architecture means Ansible master from where we are running the Ansible, that itself will manage everything for to talk to that end systems. Means you don't require to install any software on any device at any point of time. When you are looking for an automation things through the Ansible, means Ansible master will have entire management software installed within the Ansible. So through the Ansible manager, we will be able to do all the target missions. That is called as agentless. The next uses OpenSSH and WinRM. OpenSSH means it is for SSH. We are doing that. Normally we can log into the Linux servers using the SSH connection. We will be logging into the certain devices or network through the SSH only, because SSH is a secure shell we will be logging in. So Ansible is also using the SSH. And if you'd like to log into this Windows, means it will use the Windows resource management, remote management, it is called WinRM. So that's what I was telling you. You can manage Windows systems as well as Linux systems also. When you are trying to manage the Windows systems, you will be using the WinRM package from the Ansible to talk to. And when you are trying to manage the Linux systems, you will be using the SSH connection to talk to. That's what. No agent to exploit or update. That is what. In the target systems, we are not going to update anything as such, nothing as such. We are not going to install literally zero. We'll be installing anything. And predictable, reliable, and secure. Therefore, definitely, because what we are doing it through the Ansible is like that everything is been open and everyone knows that what script is actually running on that. And moreover, for to get it managed by the Ansible, the end user operating systems, what I say, Windows operating system, Linux operating systems, or any other network platform devices, whichever it has been there, all the companies are started producing the Ansible roles. It's called as an Ansible roles, they'll call it as. These Ansible roles can be installed in a master. Again, I'm telling, we can install it in the master only, not in the devices or target machines, nowhere. When you try to manage the Cisco devices, Cisco is creating an Ansible platform roles. So those roles can be installed in Ansible master. Through that Ansible master, I can control the Cisco boxes. Same thing, WinRM is utilized for to manage the Windows systems. I will not install anything in Windows Server to get it managed by the Ansible. That is what I'm saying. That is reliable and secure. So that is nothing but the agentless architecture. When you automate, you are accelerating team impact. Save the time and be more productive. Definitely eliminate the repetitive tasks. Fewer mistakes and errors. Improve collaboration and job satisfaction. This is coming under the managerial thing of like collaboration, job satisfaction, everything will be coming up through the managerial lecture when it is going on, they will be talking on. But what I can definitely say that we will be not making any mistakes at all, very fewer, and the errors will not be so much at all. And we will be eliminating the repetitive tasks. Repetitive tasks in the sense, again and again, you just don't need to run the commands. We can automate it. And it is definitely saving the time for us because it makes a very much difference of 10 systems to get managed, 10,000 systems to get managed. So we are saving a lot of time. And only disadvantage what I can say, when you go for an automation in the sense, you will be losing the jobs. Definitely. Because of the automation has been there, we don't require much resources to manage all this. Okay, that other way I can just say, you learn Ansible, you learn any automations. So you will be still employed in a companies. Okay. Then enterprise impact, overcome the complexity, more resources for innovation, increase accountability and compliance. Yeah, okay, that all the compliances will be there. Through the theory, we can understand what are the compliances which we are going through. Means this Ansible is not going to make any harm to the end devices. It will not create any issues at all when it has been run or not run. After running also, it doesn't create any damages to the systems because we are going to pull it up all the configurations, or we are going to make it up all the configurations as per the directions given by the operating systems itself or the devices itself. Next slide. What is Ansible? What I given in the introduction, it was the same thing has been spoken. Ansible is an open source automation tool or platform used for IT tasks such as configuration management, application deployment, intra-service orchestration, and provisioning. So where we will be applying this, that is what the first paragraph. Second one, automation is crucial these days with the IT environment that are too complex and often need to scale too quickly for system administrators and developers to keep up if they had to do everything manually. So manual intervention has been completely getting removed when you go for an automation. Still, we will be writing the scripts. At least a person has to sit down and do the script. Ansible will not create automatic script. Nowhere it is possible. There is no artificial intelligence involved in this, but still I'm telling, when before we were managing the 10,000 servers in the sense, we require at least a 3 shift of the people, near about 50 to 60 people required for that to manage the entire systems. Now it is not required. We can reduce the workforce by below 10% also it is possible because of that Ansible will be doing a lot of activities. And it frees up time and increases the efficiency. And Ansible is rapidly rising onto the top of the world of automation tools. Definitely, I can just say that because everyone is going for Ansible only. So when Ansible has come up in the, into the market and we started implementing in the sense we are having a lot of free time. Free time in the sense management doesn't like that people are so free. They will be giving a lot of work for us. Okay, but we will be creating more scripts for to run in future systems like that. Maybe if it is a new package is coming like, so how to manage that by the Ansible? Like, so we will be trying out with the, trial and error method with our own servers or something. Advantages of Ansible: free. It's a free open source tool. You can pull up the open source code completely. The Ansible, you can modify it accordingly to you. That is what most of the third-party companies are doing. They are based on Ansible. They are creating the third-party packages to do what Ansible will be doing it. Instead of writing all the YAML scripts and other thing, they provide some ready-made YAML scripts. They can just modify here and there only. Accordingly, just the name need to be modified, something like that. And very simple to set up and use. No special coding skills are necessary to use Ansible Playbook. Playbook is nothing but the script. The script is named as a playbook here. You will just say playbook. Powerful. Lets you model even highly complex IT workflows. Flexible. You can orchestrate the entire application environment no matter where it is deployed. You can also customize it based on your needs. What I'm saying, flexible in the sense, with the same script, just one YAML script. YAML means it's a yet another markup language. You can just say the scripts are given as an YAML script only in Ansible. Within one script, I can manage Ubuntu system, CentOS system, Red Hat system, Windows system, Linux Mint system, Cisco routers, Juniper routers. Can you think of doing all these things in one shot? It is possible through the Ansible. Because I'll be calling the roles accordingly to talk to the different devices. I can make it as just in one script, that one-stop shop, I can just say. So that with one script, I can able to do all this. That's what is called a flexible. So whenever the script is running, it is a line by line, it is going to get interpreting it. It is going to run it like the tasks. The tasks will be, arranged in such a way that it will be talking to the first CentOS systems. It will talk to the Red Hat system, then it will talk to Linux systems, and then it will talk to something like that. It will keep on going on. So the entire thing, when we just see that very bigger thing in the sense like maybe the pages and pages of one script may be going, that you require more experience on this, how to integrate multiple, script file into one file, that we can do that. But we just need to start with first, what is an Ansible script? Small scripts we'll just need, right? How to pick up the host name of it? How do you run that things and all that? Then agentless. No need to install any software or firewall ports on the client systems you want to automate. No need to open up any ports at all. This is more important because it is running on SSH only. Once SSH is activated, Ansible has got no problems at all. You also don't have to set up any separate management structure. Definitely it is not there. What do you need to do? Just you need to install the Ansible in one master. Just one master is required. Only one server is required for you to install the Ansible. The rest, all the servers can be managed. All your target machines and network devices can be managed with that one managing station. That's possible. Efficient because you don't need to install any extra software. There is more room for application resources on your server. Yeah, means a target server they talk. Because of we are not installing anything, we are not running anything inside. It doesn't require the memory. It doesn't require the CPU cycles for an application to be running inside the server or something. So the server is completely free to run its own resources, whichever it has been already configured on. That means if it is a database server, it can handle only its own databases. It doesn't need to worry about what Ansible is doing, because Ansible doesn't require any software to get installed in database servers. That is what efficient. So Ansible's features and capabilities: it can do configuration management, it can do the application deployment, it will do the orchestrations, security and compliance, cloud provisioning, very important. Even when we are trying to install certain services on certain servers on the cloud, AWS cloud, Azure cloud, or Google cloud, we do Ansible. Nowadays, we have started doing the provisioning for cloud also, like we are using the Ansible. What is the configuration management is speaking about? Sorry, designed to be very simple, reliable, consistent, and configuration management. Ansible configurations are simple data descriptions of infrastructure and are both readable by humans and parsable by machines. All you need to start managing systems is a password or an SSH key. That's all. See, this line is very important. Both readable by humans and parsable by machines. So easy, no? Humans can read it because it is written in English. It's like an English sentence only. And it's parsable by the machines. Machines can also understand that. So they did a lot of work on Ansible backend to make both Either human and machines can understand easily. An example how Ansible make configuration management. If you want to install an updated version of the specific type of software on all the machines in your enterprise, all you have to do is write out all IP addresses of the nodes and write an Ansible playbook to install it on all the nodes. Then run the playbook from your control machine. That's it. Means you just need to collect which are all the machines need to get updated. Maybe for example, I can just say 1,000 servers you are managing. Out of that, you are going to update only 500 servers in the sense you require to make only 500 servers IP addresses you just need to collect. And you just need to write the proper scripting. All the 500 servers has been updated with the versions within half an hour. Or it may be depend on the application you are trying to install it. So how easy it is, right? You don't need to log into every server and running the script for that. Ansible will take care of it. From one control machine, you will be able to send that information, send that running that particular code script from one machine to all the 500 machines completely. Application deployment. Ansible lets you quickly and easily deploy multi-tier apps. You don't write custom code to automate your system. You list the tasks required to be done by writing a playbook. And Ansible will figure out how to get your systems to state you want them to be in. In other words, you won't have to configure the applications on every machine manually. When you run a playbook from control machine, Ansible uses SSH to communicate to the remote hosts, run all the commands, that is called tasks. In an application deployment also, we can do this. Orchestration, bringing different elements into beautifully run whole operation, similar to the way of musical conductor brings the notes, producing all different instruments to a cohesive artistic work. Example, I can just say you need to manage a lot just a front end or back end services, databases, network and storage and all. That also can be done in proper order. Uses Ansible using the automated workflows, provisioning and more to take orchestration easily. You have defined your infrastructure using the Ansible playbooks. Orchestration wherever you need to, thanks to the portability of Ansible playbook, means you have the systems which has been already installed, which are running for years, 7-8 years it is running. If somebody is asking that, can I manage those systems with an Ansible? Definitely yes, it is possible. So there is a compatibility to the systems which are backend also. Backward compatibility is also been there. Further upgradation also can be done on that servers which are running for the years and years. That is also possible. So those are all coming under your orchestration. Security compliance, that we need to know about that, how security has been maintained and how does it compliance with certain standards on that. So like all remote hosts will automatically update it to those details. Means you don't need to monitor each machine for security compliance continued manually. And for extra security, admin user password retrievable in plain text on. It is not retrievable, means we can do some Ansible vault. Vault means it is going to keep the passwords inside and it doesn't allow the people to see it. Means I can even secure the entire playbooks in a vault. I can keep it out. Nobody can see what is it. I can ask them to run it, but they don't see what is inside the playbook is running. Like that. I can do that. Cloud provisioning. First step in automating your application's life cycle is automating the provision of infrastructure. With Ansible, you can provision cloud platforms, virtualized hosts, network devices, bare metal servers. Everything is possible. Whatever we are doing in on-premises, in our own data centers, we can do the same thing in cloud also. So these are all the network devices which are, supported by the Ansible. The list is very bigger. I just given only a part of it. See, very simple, very important things. You can just say Cisco. Cisco is there, and FI Big IP is there. Junos is there, right? Palo Alto is there. Nokia is there. Arista EOS is there. So many are there. Web infrastructure and clustering. This is coming under your server related things. Apache HTTPD, Consul, Django management, Jabbard, HTPass or JBoss, Jenkins, Jira, Kubernetes. Definitely Kubernetes has been there. Let us encrypt, Pacemaker, Supervisor D, Zookeeper. These are all the application packages which are coming under the web infrastructure and clustering. So this also can be automated by the Ansible. Databases, InfluxDB, Redis, React, MS SQL, MySQL, PostgreSQL, Vertica, Oracle has also been there. I missed it. Advanced management, configuration management. Clustering is possible, commands, crypto, database, files, identity. What is not possible? That's what I say. If normal system administrator, whatever he is doing, it is possible through the Ansible. Notification is possible, package management, remote management, source control, storage, system, utilities, web infrastructure, everything is possible through Ansible. So if you know Ansible, you can work on any servers, you can work on any devices, any network devices, you can work on any databases, it's possible. You don't need to know the proprietary commands also, I'm telling. When you are configuring the Red Hat system, in the sense, you just need to know the proprietary commands which are there inside, Linux commands. Those Linux commands also, you don't require to know that when you are writing the Ansible scripts. Like if you like to take a backup, means I can write directly take backup. It'll work. It will work. Ansible will take it. That's what very important. When you're writing the cron tab, in the sense, you just need to write the proper command in the syntax purpose. Here the syntaxes are not so much. Not so much, I can definitely say that. You don't need to know the third-party boxes, proprietary codes or commands are not required at all. If you like to configure an interface, I can just say IP address of the interface. Just write it, that's it. General terms I can use it, fast Ethernet, gig Ethernet, serial. You know, Ethernet ports, I can just configure. Because we need to configure the IP addresses on the Linux systems also. We need to configure the HTTP package. We have to configure the FTP package. We just need to configure some NTP servers need to get installed. We need to activate the services. We need to disable the services. We just need to stop it for quite some time. We just need to see the hard disk capacity when it is growing. These all activities can be done by Ansible by writing the scripts on this. And moreover, would like to stress it, you don't need to know about the Linux command to run Ansible code. How is it possible, you can ask me, or you are maybe like so much of surprise you are having that without running the command, how do the things will get managed? They can get managed. How they are getting managed? Because the roles are defined by those companies and it has been supplied to Ansible. Those roles will take care of all the commands whichever it is getting run inside the proprietary operating systems as well. Like so, architectures are modules, plugins, inventories, playbooks, and APIs. Modules are like a small programs that Ansible pushes out from control machine to all nodes or remote hosts. Modules are executed using playbooks and they control as services, packages, and files. Execute all modules by installing updates or whatever the required task is, removes them when finished. Ansible provides more than 450 modules for everyday tasks. Means they are saying about the default modules or the roles which are getting installed when you are installing the Ansible. And if you would like to have any other modules to get installed, in the sense, we can visit the particular provider's site, and you can look for the modules for that. You can download them and you can integrate it with the Ansible machine. It's possible. So that's what. Plugins, as you probably already know from many other tools and platforms, plugins are extra pieces of code, augment functionality. Ansible come with a number of plugins. You can write your own as well. Action, cache, callback plugins are 3 examples like this. Plugins also possible. Plugins you require for the programmers, which they require some certain plugins for to write their codes. Inventory is nothing but like a host file. Whatever the host, we are going to manage it through the Ansible. Like that is called as an inventory. Inventory means we will be writing the application, we will be writing the IP address and names of the machines which we are going to manage it. IP addresses, databases, servers, and so on. Once you register the inventory, you can assign the variables to any of the hosts using a simple text file. You can also pull inventory from the sources like EC2. EC2 means Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud. We can build up, that is, we require some dynamic inventories. Playbooks, very important. Playbooks are like instruction manuals for tasks. They are simple files written on YAML, which stands for YAML. YAML ain't a markup language, a human readable data serialization language. They say it is a language, but it is a tool only. Playbooks are really the heart of what makes Ansible so popular is so because they describe the task to be done quickly without having the need for the user to know or remember any particular syntax. That's what I was keep on stressing, that you don't need to know about the syntax of the target systems. Not only can they declare configuration, but they can orchestrate the steps and manually order the task, execute the task at the same time or at different times. Scheduling is possible. Each playbook is composed of one or more multiple plays. And the goal of a play is to map the group of hosts to well-defined roles represented by the task. Okay, every playbook, that's what I was saying. Numerous number of systems we can configure. Different operating systems we can configure it in one playbook. That's what they say. APIs, application programming interfaces. You can extend Ansible connection types. Instead of talking to the SSH, we can talk to the APIs also. More than SSH per transport. This is about the docs. We can go to this link and we can find out what is the docs are talking about. Everything is open source, though, so nothing to hide in this one. And I have written thousands of because of the systems which you are managing it, like we have around 50 to 60 playbooks which has been already been done for every other platform. And for the servers also, we've been keep on writing for daily basis. According to the application based on, so we'll be writing a lot of playbooks for that. As and when we require that, we will go ahead and we will be modifying the playbooks accordingly. And managing the systems, maybe like they will be run out of time or something like that. They'll be running out of the hard disk space, or like normal administrative tasks also we can write the playbooks for that. So these 3 guides will be giving you the proper way of configuring the Ansible docs, public cloud guides, YAML syntax guide. What is the syntax? Syntax is very simple. You can learn the YAML syntax in just one day. It's enough for you. If you write many kind of playbooks in a day or something, maybe like 5th or 6th playbook, you will understand what are the mistakes you are making in. You'll be writing on your own. This is a very important thing. Please note down my number and my email address. Okay. So this is my number. You can talk to me anytime. This is a WhatsApp number also. You can note it down. Okay. And you can send a mail on this if you'd like to have the course or something. Before to end up this session, I would like to show you some of the small, small kind of a demonstration I would like to show you. For that, I will be, sharing my screen. I guess everyone can see my Ansible master screen. Can you see that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, great.
Yes, sir.
This is an Ansible master. It is running on the, I can just say OS release. So this is running on CentOS Linux. It's a CentOS 7 machine. I am using it. It's like a RHEL Fedora, like that. The CentOS 7 I'm running on this. This CentOS is completely free, so I just use this CentOS machine. And in this, from this machine, I made this as a master, Ansible master. And these machines are Ansible slave. This is Ansible slave 1, and this one is Ansible slave 2. Master and slave, target machines you can call it as. These are also etc/OS. These are also CentOS. We can install Ubuntu as well as we can install the Windows also, but I would like to show you something on this one also, like in slaves. So here, let me come back to the master. In the master, I would like to show you something on what is the Ansible version I installed. Ansible -- version. If I give this command, it will be giving you what is the currently Ansible version is running on my master. 2913. There's the latest I got, I guess. 2914 also come. So, and it is running with the Python version 2.7.5. I can even see what is the Python version I'm running on this. Python 3 -1. So Python 3.6.8 I'm running. Python will be automatically installed on Linux machines. No need to install it. If you would like to install it, you can just run the command install Python 3 something, you can run it. And Ansible installation is also very much easier. It requires some certain packages need to get installed like an Ansible. And moreover, I would like to tell you again and again, I'm telling you, Ansible software, the Ansible package need to be installed only in master. Only in master. These are plain Linux systems only. They don't have any kind of Ansible. If I'm writing Ansible -- version, see it is Ansible not found. Sorry, I return this off. Ansible is not found. It is not installed at all. Here also I can just write the command. Here, Ansible version. Nothing is there. Ansible is not at all installed. We don't require to install anything. So this is about the Ansible, like things. Let me go to that directory. Let me see what all things I'm having here. Let me go to the base directory. Base. Here I have some files. So here I'm having some files. Ansible.cfg. This is the configuration file, and this is an inventory file. Okay, and I have some YAMLs which already has been written. MOTD. MOTD means message of the day. We are writing some banners for that. No, that is MOTD. Nginx is one of the small web server. We can install it on the target systems. No secret, that is a different one. Secret other one. So would like to show you what is the Ansible configuration file. Cat ansible.cfg. See that this is the Ansible configuration. I am having it. Very simple. Remote user is going to be the Ansible. Host key checking is false. Inventory is nothing but the inventory which I am having here. We'll show you what is the inventory file containing. And privilege escalations means when I am logging into the certain systems, means I would like to require to have to log in as a root, means as an administrator, so that I can able to install any software on the target systems. So that is nothing but become as a true. Become method is sudo. Sudo, everyone knows that whoever is working on Linux boxes, they know sudo means they will become the administrator. Become user is going to be the root. Become ask false. It is not going to ask any password for that, because I have already established the SSH communication with the slave 1 and the slave 2. So Ansible master, this is a very small Ansible configuration file. If you like to see the original Ansible configuration file, I will show you. /etc/ansible/ansible.c. This is the original Ansible config. You can just see this configuration file, but this also can be utilized. If you like to use this Ansible configuration file, you can use it, no problems at all. But you just need to configure it, means you just need to remove certain, the markings which are there, comments which are there, just need to remove that. So this will be seeing all the default things, like you see, sudo user is root, poll interval is 15, folks are 5, where is the hosts are returning, where is the inventory file is loaded, right? What are the plugins are there? Remote port is what? 22 is nothing but an SSH we are doing. Module language is C. Module set local false. Like that will be, there are so many configurations which are there. You can just go through this. Roles path. This is a very huge file. Instead of writing this, instead of editing this file, what we normally do, we will be creating our own Ansible configuration file for our own project. Project in the sense, if you wanted to install the LS, let me do this. If I would like to install the FTP on the servers, I will take it as like an FTP project. And I would like to do some host patterns, logging or something like that, logging project, an items project, pictures, new world, like that Ubuntu. If you like to install the Ubuntu platform, something like that, I'll be creating a Ubuntu project like that. So better to create one project. Accordingly, the playbooks can be run, so it's easy for you to manage from your side. So let me go back to the base. There are files. Let me show. Previously, I've shown you the Ansible configuration. Now I'll show you the inventory. So this is the inventory. Ansible slave.ramnet.local. That is one other server. Ansible slave 2. That is the second server. Ansible Ubuntu. That is the third server. Currently, I don't have the Windows. I have the Windows as a different one. Like so, with this inventory, I'll be managing the first server and second server and third Ubuntu server. 3 servers I can able to manage it. So when you try to configure the Ansible, in the sense, we just need to create the Ansible configuration as a must, CFG. Then inventory is very much important. Once you run the inventory, by using this inventory, the Ansible will be running its own commands on this. Okay. Now I'll be able to run the commands Ansible /i. I can just say inventory. Okay. And I can just say minus, I can say command. MSI inventory. Let me show you the files actually, because this is a raw command which we can easily run on that. Okay, if you'd like to see any kind of packages or something on which is installed on the server in the sense, let me show you certain files on this. Ad hoc commands, you can see this. Let me show you another command so you can easily understand this. So I can just run this Ansible all -m shell. Let me run this command. Ansible all hosts -m means a module. Shell module, I'm going to use it. Then I would like to know about the host name of the devices installed. Host name CTL. It's taking time. Okay, it is tried to log into the Ubuntu. Currently, the Ubuntu machine I didn't start it. See that only CentOS slaves I have started. So it is saying that unreachable. Ubuntu is unreachable, but it is working with the slave 2. Slave 2 is saying that the static host name of the server is Ansible slave2.ramnet.local and the operating system is CentOS 7. Architecture is 1664, Linux 3.0, that is a kernel version. And it is giving the Ansible slave, ramnet local, first slave and second slave. So it is find out all the informations. I can run any command whichever I require. On this, I can just say hostname CTL, I just seen that. Other commands, what I can run. If config, I can just. If config means nothing but like the IP addresses I would like to know. -a if config. If config means all the IP addresses of the servers I can be able to see that. So see, the if config has come up. If config means IP addresses which are configured on the Ansible slave 1. This is the first ever card which is having the IP address as 172.16.230.200. And there are other systems also, other IP addresses also there. Ansible ENS33 has been there. So in this one, Ansible slave 2, we have the IP address as 201. Again, it's right to run it in the Ansible Ubuntu. This system is false because it is not understanding to log into that one. It's not able to get that commands or something. So I can just get the thing also, like I can just run this one command. I would like to get it the command by just one server. I would like to get it. What is the current date which is running on slave 1? The current date is Sunday, October 25. What is the time is currently 12:18 IST. That is running. If I would like to see that second server, I can just do the second. Somebody is pinging. Let me see. Yeah, can I get recording session of this session? Definitely, I will give you. Navneethan, definitely I will be giving you. This recording session will be given to you. Recording session will be given to all. No worries. And I will be sharing this on the YouTube after 2-3 days. When I'm getting the time, I'll share it. Otherwise, I'll share it to you through the Google Drive. Don't worry. So this is like Ansible. I'm running that. Shell command. This is a shell command of the date. What is the date on Ansible slave 1? It is saying October 25. What is the date on slave 2? It is showing that 25, same thing. So I can just say cal also. Calendar, it'll show the calendar. So this is the calendar, October 2020. I can see it on second, I can see it on first server also, it's possible. So these are all like ad hoc commands, ADHOC, ad hoc commands. Ad hoc commands in the sense, thanks so much, okay, nice. Ad hoc commands in the sense, we can run the commands directly to the servers instead of writing the playbooks. Playbooks are like orchestrated, tasks based. You know, like it is going to target for 10, 15, 100 machines or something. But you would like to get a detail about the just one machine for one quite some time, very quickly. If you like to know the details of that, you can run this command. This is called as an ad hoc command. Let me see some other Nginx. I can just see. We'll show you what is an Nginx file is. Nginx.yaml. Okay, this is something different. Okay, I will do one thing. This is the roles are installed. Let me go to some other directory. I will show you. FTP can be installed. One second. Okay, let me go to the FTP directory. Okay, HTTPD is also been there. Cat httpd.yaml. Oh, great. Nice. See this. This is the httpd YAML file. The project is FTP. Maybe like I kept it in FTP only, no issues. So this is going to, I highlighted that. I guess everyone can see this httpd.yaml. Deploying the HTTPD, I am going to install the HTTPD package in the servers which I am going to do that. What is the task? Task is nothing but install the HTTPD. Package name is HTTPD. Status latest. State is latest. Latest in the sense latest version of the HTTP will get HTTP server will get installed. Okay. Enable the HTTP. Name is HTTPD. Enable true means we just need to start the service by doing the service. See the service name HTTPD enable true. That's it. You don't need to know the command. When you try to run this command on the any targeting Linux system or something, you just need to know the command for that. Syntax you should know. Systemctl start HTTPD. Something you just need to type it. If you are making mistake, it will not start. But see here it is just a service name enable true finish. That's all. You are not writing any syntax at all here. And moreover, what we are writing it, we are creating an index.html also. Okay, we are creating an index.html under this directory. Destination is going to be www var www.html index.html. The content is going to be like welcome to HTTPD server. What normally we do, we will be getting into this directory. We will do the Vim editor. Through the Vim editor, we will be writing that commands. Means like whatever the HTML coding has to be done. We are not doing that coding also here. When you write the code, what you do, you will just say greater than and less than like HTML inside. Then H1, then coloring code and all we will give it. Then give the test. Then you close and come out, save it out, verifying it. Then run the service. Then you see how long will it take. If you would like to do that in 1,000 servers, how long will it take? That is what the automation is. What I'm doing it from here, like I'm just writing this one. So the hosts are going to be like an Ansible 2 only. I'm going to install it this. Let me verify whether this Ansible 2 is already having the, HTTPD is running or not. Let me check. It is HTTPD. It is already been there. Let me do one thing. I will sudo yum remove. I will remove this. Then only I can install it. Let me remove this. May take some time. It get erased. Taking a lot of time. Finish dependency resolution. Let me check here. Systemctl status HTTPD. See, HTTP is not in there at all. Anyway, we removed it. Let's remove this. I'm removing this. It's a 9 MB installed package is 9 MB. So it is erasing the HTTPD. Now, if I run the same command again, HTTPD service is not found. So now I am able to install this by running this YAML file. YAML file is nothing but AINTUP market language. And this job is going to do, what is the task is getting installed? Task is nothing but install the HTTPD. So now I am easy to install this thing. What I have to do, Ansible -playbook. This is the command. Then the playbook command, playbook name of this httpd.yaml. When I am running this command in the Ansible master, see I am an Ansible master. In the Ansible master, it is going to run on this. First of all, I just need to see that whether the inventory file is having the proper entries. Yeah, entries is there. Because it will be using the inventory file only. By using the inventory file edit, inventory file item, it will be running this this YAML code. Ansible playbook. Spelling mistake. httpd.yaml. I am going to run this command. I am going to run this playbook. This playbook will install HTTPD package. It's nothing but a web server will get installed in slave number 2 with it will be creating a home page also. That is what the task. So I'm running this task now. First EC deploying the HTTPD. Okay, it is starting to the Ansible slave 2. Now it is installing the HTTPD. installing the HTTPD. It takes some time because it need to download the packages from the internet. Changed, it is saying that. Changed. Now it has been done. It's been done. See how soon it's done. Changed to means it is talking to the server, yes. Then it is installed the service, yes. And it has created an index file also, yes. There are 2 tasks are completed. That's why I changed to. Actually, it was doing the 4. Means gathering the fact, changing the, installing the HTTPD, enabling it, creating it. There is a 4 tasks has been done. But actually speaking, there are 2 things has been changed as well in the server. What I need to know, what I need to do the next one, I just need to go and check it out whether the Ansible slave 2 has got HTTPD installed or not. See, it is there. Inactive is okay, there is not a problem because we didn't activate it at all. It's okay, enable like that. Now I just see the file. I would like to see that cat var www html index.html. See that this is the test to handle the lab in Ansible. Something has been installed. Got it? Something is happening. So this is how we will be installing the Ansible playbooks. So like I have created so many projects as well. ls myself. Public, register, roles, tags, templates. You know, Ubuntu also I can just show you Ubuntu, but Ubuntu system is not started now. In the Ubuntu system, I am installing the Nginx. See this. Deploying it on Ubuntu. Host is Ansible Ubuntu. Okay, installing Nginx. Package name is Nginx. State is latest. Enable Nginx. That's all. Oh, that's it. Service activation. It's done. How simple is to write the playbook? Just see that. That's what I would like to show you. And Windows systems also you can do. I have made some kind of Windows things also. See that. Cat ansible.cfg. Here, because of the Windows system, we don't have this become true and other things because it is very much required for the Linux systems only. Windows requires not only just the default. Then let me see the inventory file. Inventory is not there. It's there. CentOS is there. Windows C, Windows Slave 1. This is the name of the inventory which I given it. And this is very much required for a Windows servers to get logged in. Ansible user, Ansible password, Ansible connection through the WinRM, and the WinRM server certification validation we are seeing. What is the YAML file I given? I given the WinPlay as an YAML. This, what is this WinPlay is going to do? This YAML file will be creating a Windows user. Host is Windows. Task is going to be creating the Windows user. Win user is nothing but the module which we installed, role we installed it. User name is like a Dingo one. Password is password. State is present, means the person has to be there. Group is coming under the normal user group. That's all. Normal user, administrator, database administrator, something like the different groups are there. So under that group, users group, I am installing this. What is that? The user, Windows Play. Like that, I can keep on creating a lot of playbooks as well. So, and Ansible has got a tower also. You know, like there is a Ansible tower is also been there. Let me show you like Ansible tower. I guess I need to run it like a root only, then it will be working. So, tower service status. Yeah, it is running now. Tower is also been running. See that? Oh, so many. You can just see Ansible tower status. It is active. Ansible tower state is active, and it is a required dependency service also been active. PostgreSQL active running. Redis service active running. Ansible tower is nothing but like it is like a GUI. Through that GUI, we can able to configure all the systems. You don't need to run any kind of commands or something. Let me try log into that. If still Ansible is running, then I can show you. https://172.199 is there. Let me see if it is still there running. Yeah, it is running there. Let me do unbin. Yeah, it is there. See Ansible tower. Through that Ansible tower also, I can able to log into that. 2 hosts are configured. 2 inventories I made it earlier. 2 projects I made that. This is a job status. How does it run or something? So I installed 2 playbooks, means like 2 templates I run it. One is an Nginx template, another one is an FTP template which I run. Those are all running successfully. That's why it is shows a green. These are failed. Earlier I run with that small mistakes and it will fail. So here this is a dashboard. We can just see I logged in as an admin here. And the jobs I can able to mention the jobs over here. Scheduling the jobs, right? See, cleanup activity, cleanup job schedule. I can keep on creating it. Schedule jobs like my view. You can just see. This is how we can just see the job templates and jobs which are there, which has been already created. Templates. The templates which I created means using the YAML text and all, you can create it by just clicking plus. You can create the template, job template I can create. Here I just need to give a name to that description, job type. It is going to run or checking. Whether you would like to run the template or you are going to check the services or something, I can do that. Inventory, I just need to pull it up. Project name I have to give. Credentials I have to give. As what user you are going to log into that system and running this playbook or something. Verbosity is nothing but like that, what kind of logs you would like to receive it, which level of logs. So like I can map everything over here. It is more of GUI based. Rather than running the commands in the Ansible playbook command, we can run it over here as a template on this. But for to run the template also, we need to make the YAML file inside the server, Ansible master. There is no way, we have to make it out. But there is a room for here also you can create, so you can create it here. But again, you'll have to do the scripting. There is no, you can't escape from that. But still, you can do it in through the, what do you say, it's a GUI based, very easier. And credentials files you can create. Like I created a root credential here. We have to create the projects first. My project I created. Like many projects you can keep on creating. If your customers are more, like you are managing around 50, 60 customers in the sense, every customer will be having some number of projects can be get created. So all projects can be managed with one manager. That is called Ansible Tower. And inventories, we will create the inventories over here as per the projects. I create a Ramnet inventory. And inventory scripts, if you want to run any script like that, you can do. Organizations, user creation, you can do. Who can use this Ansible Tower? I can make that as an admin. I logged in here. And the teams also you can create. Like it's like a proper administration, like what we do. Credential type, notification, instance group. Instance groups you can create. Like, so this is the dashboard. Normally we will be logging into this dashboard only to see all these things. If you like to log out, you can just click this power button. And you wanted to have a help on this, you can click on this. Like this, you can go. There are no notifications as such. And this Ansible Tower is coming up a free. Red Hat is giving you free for 1 week. 1 week only, evaluation period. For 1 week, 7 days we can run this. For I guess 10 devices we can manage for 1 week only. Any Gmail address we can have that. We can get the evaluation copy. We can download the evaluation copy, and we can get the license file also. See that I got one license file. I'll show you. Let me go to the Ansible directory, then I can show you. This is the license file. With this license file, I can upload it to the Ansible Tower, and it will be running for me like that. Let me go back to Ansible Tower, like the 2 hosts which are there. These are all the 2 hosts, local host and the Ansible slave one. Let me go back to this and 2 inventories, demo inventory and Ramnet inventory. I can keep on creating inventories. Every inventory will be having the files of containing the target service. Like 2 projects is there. One is a default project demo, another one which I created my project. Like you can create as many as projects. No, there is no restriction for that. But inside the within 7 days, whatever you can do that. That's all. Because if you're going for an Red Hat certification exam nowadays, I guess Ansible has been involved in this, involved in your Red Hat certification. So you need to know about the Ansible part also, Ansible Tower also. So better I would like to say that please get an Ansible Tower license for 7 days and practice it on the tower also, so that you will have a hands-on on Ansible Towers. So you will have much confidence to write the exams also. Okay, so I guess I spoken a lot, and now I am open up for the what I say. Any kind of questions if you'd like to ask, you can ask me. I can answer you.
Sir, namaskar, sir.
Good morning. Yes, tell me. Who's speaking?
Sir, Birendra Misra is speaking.
Birendra, tell me, Birendra. Good morning. Tell me.
Good morning, sir. Actually, sir, I just wanted to know first that you told that this will be working for automation purpose.
Yes.
So this, what kind of automation, sir, we are talking about here now? I was not able to get it.
Automation is like, that's what I was telling you, daily day-to-day jobs, whichever we are doing it, user creations, folders, projects, giving the rights and permissions creations, and running the automation jobs like backup running, hard disk managements, daily day-to-day job as a system administrator, whatever you are doing it, you can do the same thing with the Ansible playbooks for that. Yeah, thank you.
Sir.
Yeah, thanks, Navinita. Any other questions? And this playbook running, that it is not only limited to the servers or something. We can do it for network devices also, and we can do it for many other servers also. Means a Windows server we can manage, Ubuntu servers we can manage, Linux servers we can manage, any flavor Linux stuff we can manage. That's possible.
So, sir, we are working here means we can what to say, maintain any kind of servers using this Ansible.
Yes, possible. We can do that. Yes.
Okay, sir.
We can manage the entire server block, server farm by using the Ansible. It's possible. Instead of logging into the each and every server and managing all these things, finding out what is running inside, we can write a playbook. That playbook will do all the jobs for you in one shot. All the servers will be responding to back to you. Just need to go and analyze the logs only. That is your job. That's all. Okay. Any other questions from anyone? I am open to that. Please don't hesitate to ask any question. Ask me. No issues. Anyone else? Any doubts or any kind of course details or something? Okay, I will tell you something about this course, Ansible for system admins. I can conduct this course for maximum 2 weeks, and if you are not comfortable with that 2 weeks or something, you would like to have some more time or something, maybe 3 weeks we can have it, because there is less stuff in this. Learning Ansible is very quick and easy, so any system administrator can learn very easily. Within a week it's possible, but I would like to give something on advanced also. So I would like to show you on Linux system, not only Linux systems, would like to show you on Windows systems as well as Ubuntu also. And we will be talking about the static and dynamic inventories also. We will be running the roles, and we will do the management of the cloud devices also, means AWS cloud devices, Azure cloud devices, servers, as well as Google cloud devices also will be managing with Ansible. Would like to show you. That's why I'm just saying maximum 3 weeks I can say for this entire thing to get conducted. Fees and all I can work out, not a problem. You can talk to me directly on this number, or you can send me an email on this. So we can work out with that, not a problem. But I would like to tell you that one real thing is that we just need to go to the automation, else you will not be able to survive in the market. Definitely, I'm telling, because people who are having MCSC, like a Microsoft certification, or they are having a Red Hat certifications, they are having some struggling in doing the automation side because they are not equipped. So better you go for this kind of Ansible learning or something will be helping you a lot to be a person who's sitting on automation side also. Not asking you to write a script directly, but try to understand what Ansible is doing it. Little bit of, you just need to be in the implementation side also. Maybe seniors will be writing the scripts and playbooks for you, but I should be able to run those playbooks in proper way and collecting the outputs and analyzing it. That is more important for you. So for that, you require a basic skills on Ansible. And Ansible has been integrated to the RSCE now. I guess because RSCE 8 version 8 has come up. In that, Ansible has also been there. There will be questions will be asked from Ansible also for you. And there is no harm in learning new things also, because whole entire world market is going towards automations and other things. So cloud and other provisionings. Better you can learn your new skills with an Ansible. Yes, it's required. Any other question from anyone? Throw the question, no problem. I am here for you to answer all. No issues. Ask me any questions. Exposure, job perspective, what could be the role I will be getting it? Something you can ask me after studying Ansible. Any doubts you can ask me, like any kind of system administrations. Go ahead, please. So installation of this small setup, you don't require much memory and all in your laptop. If you are having i5, is more than enough. And 3 servers we can install it. Maybe each server will take only 2 GB because we are going to run it every day.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello, Ramnath.
Yeah. Please ask me.
Yeah, this is Navneet Krishnan.
Tell me.
Yeah, actually, what you are recommend in a company? Actually, we are using third-party software like BigFix. Its name is BigFix. We are using for patching the Windows OS. Okay. Then now, actually, the BigFix is not. They sold out to another company. Okay. They are moving to WSS for patching the Windows OS.
Okay.
Using now they're using to they're going to implement on WSS, and with WSS we can combine the Ansible to do the automations of that triggering the Windows clients to install the Windows patches from the server.
See, you are talking about some of the third party software or something like that. But if the third party is allowing for the Ansible to get integrated in the sense, we need to go through the documentations of that particular software or something. You can comment on that.
Okay.
Ansible is actually Ansible is an open source. It can be integrated with anyone, but the third party solutions need to give a okay for Ansible to get integrated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much.
Also very much easier to the Ansible upgradation that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Very easier. Linux.
Okay.
Nowadays it has been going through the Ansible process only. Means like this virus software, virus definitions integrations. Upgradations of the virus definitions, and the small upgradations on the application side itself, and OS kernel side itself. Like some of the patches need to get installed. Everything is very easy to do it through the Ansible itself. It's possible. Normal system administration tasks. That's what I was telling you while talking about the Ansible on this. Okay, any other question from anyone? I'm recording this session. Okay, no worries. Yeah, it's recording. So no worries. I will be sharing this file to you and I'll be posting it in the YouTube later once I get time. And thanks for people who are joining because today is a festival day. I thought like maybe many people will not join, but I have a couple of people join. Thanks for that. And you can do one thing. You can give me your email address or the phone number so that I can get back to you about the course details and other things. You can put it on the chat itself. I can get it. I will not be disturbing you at all. Don't worry. You can give your mail address and phone numbers. As and when required, you can talk to me directly, not a problem. Yeah, some people are giving it. You can give it me, not an issue. I can give you the details about this one. What are the materials I'm going to give it to you? What are the playbooks I'll give it to you, like that. Please, everyone can give it. I will not disturb you, but I will give you enough details about the Ansible to how to go for it. Like. And if you're very much interested, you can learn on your own also. It's very easy because Ansible documentation is completely there on the site where I have learned actually. I have not gone through any course or something. I learned it from the Ansible site only because so many documentations we just need to learn, read, then we can understand that. Anyway, people, there are only 2, 3 are given the mail address. Please give other people also, please. Yes. Okay.
Hello, Ramnath. Devdas here. I am working in an audit field,
okay.
network security field.
Network auditing, okay.
So, network infrastructure audit, internal audit. So can I use this Ansible for making checklist? Is it there any option to generate the checklist of the?
Definitely it is possible. So one case I can just
Oh,
tell you. One case I can just
yeah, good, good,
like
good.
we are
Yeah, tell
using
me.
for inventory checking
Yes,
on
yes,
the
yes, yes.
auditing.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
inventory is very much
Yeah.
important for us. So
Yes,
auditing checking
exactly.
in the sense standard compliances we just need to verify. For that also we've been using this.
Yeah.
For that also we are using.
Oh,
So Ansible is
okay,
for
okay,
everything. I can
okay.
just
That means uh, I can do the risk assessment with that, and another things like inventory management from
possible.
Ansible.
Yeah, it's very much possible. But what
Okay.
you need to do, maybe like you just need to install certain
Mm,
modules into that. Maybe then you will be able to do that. Because
okay.
according to the third-party platform, you just need require modules. You can check it out in their own site what they are providing any modules or something. You can integrate it to the that is possible. But we are doing it
Okay,
for
okay.
inventory checking and security compliance checkings and all. It's
Mm,
like an auditing only, network auditing. It happens with us. Definitely we do with Ansible. Yes.
okay. Okay. Thanks, Ramnath.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, people can give their email addresses and passwords. Sorry, the phone numbers. And if you have any other questions, please you can ask me. I can answer it. Not a problem. Okay, if there is no other questions, then we can close out this meeting. So as a system administrator, network administrator, programmer, or database admins, or any kind of admins who are in the IT industries, they require an automation skill. So please study as soon as possible, or prepare on your own, or you can get back to me, or you can contact me for any other information as well. So thanks for joining for this festival day. Okay, let us start.
Yeah, thanks,
Learning some new stuff.
Ramnath. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you. Then I will be closing this meeting. Okay.
Thanks, Ram. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ram.
Thanks.
Thank you, Ram. Thanks for your time.
Okay. Bye. Bye all.